But in October or so, I report to Roberto Sanchez Mejoras, and we have a little tiny office up in Alpharetta. We call it the headquarters of the mission office, right? And it's about 3 meters by 4 meters, very tiny. This is where I broadcast my Qualfon mission leader sessions from. And you might think it's a huge, big, classroom. It's this very tiny one. It's full of lights and stuff. Roberto is great at putting all that stuff together, And so I was in there, right? And Roberto is walking towards me. And every time that he walks the way he walks, very confident, he's a big guy, right? Very confidently, walking right towards me, big smile on his face, he stretches his arm like this and he says, congratulations. And I go, salary increase, we already talked about that, so that's not it. And so he said, congratulations, you're gonna be a keynote speaker at the conference. And I'm first thing that came to mind is how low we have fallen, for God's sake. And the second thing was, that feeling like butterflies in your stomach. Have you ever felt that, when you're asked to speak in public? Sometimes they feel like birds, right? And so I had that feeling. And have you had that feeling yourselves? Yeah? Okay. Well, you're not alone. There's this thing called the Book of Lists. It is written by David Wallenchinski and his son and daughter. And they do rankings of just about everything you can think of. And they did a ranking on fear. You know which is the #1 fear of adults, both male and female? Speaking in public. Can you imagine that? And you know which is the #4 fear? Death. So comedian Seinfeld, one day he put the statistics together and he said, well, at a funeral, I guess you'd rather be here inside the coffin than giving the eulogy. Now this is the death of a salesman, and I guess his boss is giving the eulogy, and the only thing he can speak of, he feels comfortable with, is sales statistics, right? Because he's talking about how the guy did in the last 4 quarters. All right, fantastic. So here's the agenda. We'll look at the Qualfon mission leader. Given the title of the presentation, I thought we would start from the end, with the end in mind, no? And then we'll figure out how to get there, right? Living the mission from our hearts really makes us unique here at Qualfon, and we're going to go through that. And then I want to share with you some things that I see in Qualfon that are evidences of us being Qualfon mission leaders already. Yes, we have a road to go. There's always room for improvement, but we're there already, doing a lot of things that are good, that are Qualfon mission leader-like things. So in order to understand how a mission leader looks like, right, we went out last night and in the afternoon looking for leaders, everywhere in town. And we found a spot right by, up north, Rio Cibolo Ranch or something like that. And here are some managers. These are managers, all of them. That's what they said, at least to us. And they said they were astonished. They were really, really surprised to see some of their messengers taking some messages of some kind from here to there, right? And now we looked inside the buckets and they were empty. So we don't know exactly what is it that they were taking. But anyway, they said they were messengers. And there was a lot of mentoring going on. Huge. I mean, everybody was mentoring each other. There was a lot of mentoring. There's this guy up here. He's a mentor. And he's looking for his protege somewhere. He knows they're there. He knows they're there. He just haven't found them yet. So they're there. Now everybody was winning in this company. Everybody was winning. We don't know exactly what they were winning, but they were winning celebrations. Everybody was saying, we're first, we're first, we're first, right? So we don't know what they were winning. Except for this team right here, there's the ball. So they were winning about soccer or volleyball or something. So we knew that part, and you can tell they're winners. Look at this guy here. The pose. That's a winner pose. If you want to look like a winner, you want to do this. All right. So that was great. And the company looks like it's doing very well. They have their own stakes now, and they put the run on the stakes. This is the assembly line. You can see the supervisors in the back. The volume is not great yet. There's not a whole lot of demand, so there's only 2 stakes in the assembly line. But it will be higher. You know, they told us that. And then finally, we met the owners of the company, and they were bragging about this new car they just bought. So, you know, we really learned a lot about mission leaders yesterday. Now, seriously speaking, this is the jewel. This is our jewel. This is our treasure, guys. The mission is a treasure to us. And I put on purpose, you know, the star that we all know, the Strides values, because it is with the star, it is with the values that we as mission leaders support that mission and make it happen. Very, very important. So we have all seen this slide. We have 2 versions of the mission. One is the short version that we all know, and then the long version. The long version has some keywords, and this is the long version right here. Whoops, gave it away. Have some keywords there that are set here. Help as many people. It doesn't say people, but believe me, people is there in the first sentence. Help as many people as possible pursue their total vocation. There are 3 big statements in there. You know, it says as many people as possible. I don't know how many is that. I heard terrible numbers yesterday, Mike. Thousands and thousands and even millions, right? So that's a lot of people in there that we want to help, right? Now, the other word that strikes me all the time is the word people. It doesn't say employees. It doesn't say staff. It is people. You know, yes, our employees and our families and communities where we work, and God knows how far we can get. Now, we want to pursue them, find their total vocation. That is a big deal. Find somebody's total vocation. You're not just asking him or her, go get your vocation, right? It is helping that person understand what their strengths may be and their talents, and especially their passions, and see if there's a fit in society for that particular person, whether within Qualfon or not. So that's a big, big deal. And then it says, you know, the only way that we can help as many people as possible is by us providing as many job offerings as possible. And the only way we can do that is by being the best BPO, being the best outsourcers, the outsourcers of choice for our clients. You know, when I think of the mission, I think of Qualfon is giving us a great opportunity to have a purpose in our lives, where that purpose is professional or spiritual. In a professional way, Qualfon is inviting us to be part of the winning team that is the best. I mean, it is the best in the industry. That means we beat everybody else in the tournament. Nobody can beat us, right? Spiritually speaking, just like our second S in the Strides value says, spirituality, you know, we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. I can find of a better reason to make people's lives better. Now, I think the mission is genius. There's no way we can make people's lives better if we're not the best BPO. You know, think about it. If we were a losing team, we were the loser in the industry, we would probably be less and less of us until there's nobody to make the people's life better too, right? Now, on the other hand, if we continue to win and we continue to grow, we continue to have more and more possibilities of making people's lives better, because we grow in employees, we grow in the communities where we serve, we grow probably in countries and different geographies where we may be in. So, you know, I would submit this: when people are happy, they contribute better to whatever enterprise it may be. You know, whatever it may be, sports, business, you know, whatever, because they're happy. I would say that when we are advancing, when we are feeling better, maybe we have a vocation, we have a purpose that we are pursuing, and we're feeling better, we're getting there little by little, we feel happy. And if we feel happy, we contribute better to whatever we're doing. Now, what that really means for us, I think, is that our mission is really a virtuous cycle. You know, a virtuous cycle is like a vicious cycle, only the vicious cycle goes in the negative direction and the virtuous cycle goes in the positive direction. The better the lives, the happier the people, the better the business, and on and on and on it goes. When we feed any of the phases of such a cycle, whether it's a vicious or a virtuous cycle, it spins faster and faster like a tornado, and it becomes simply unstoppable. I like to think of the snowball rolling down the hill, gets bigger and bigger and faster, and there's a point where nobody can stop it. That is the company we should have in our minds we want to be. That should be our north right there. That is the company we want to be. Now, what is the Qualfon mission leader? Well, many of you might be thinking, how many of us is this, right? Well, it's about 1,000 of us, more or less, give or take, about 1,000 of us. Everybody who has some influence in the mission is a Qualfon mission leader, all right? Whether he or she has people reporting to or not. We don't have to have people reporting to us to influence the mission in some way, right? So there's about 600 and some supervisors, and about 400 of us who are not supervisors. There's about 150 of us right here, right? So we're all Qualfon mission leaders. This is who we are. Now, you have seen that slide before, right? Has everybody, how many of you have seen this slide before? Yeah. Well, Mike, you created it.
I've seen it.
You've seen it many, many times. Qualfon defines the Qualfon mission leader in 3 dimensions, right? The mentor, the manager, and the messenger. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in here, but as a mentor, we grow really crazy about making people's life better, helping them find their vocation. And we also become ourselves better and better every time, right? By improving our skills and expertise and so forth. Then as a manager, we're crazy about making our clients and our customers happy, right? And exceeding their expectations if at all possible. That's what we try to do. Understand the client. I was very struck by what SiriusXM was saying yesterday. Know us. Know your client. That's the best thing we can do when we are really collaborating in a supply chain-like fashion. Know your customer. So that way you can really work as if you were the same entity, even though you're different companies. As a manager, we live the Stride's values, and we encourage others to do the same, of course. Now, as a messenger, I love this dimension. I think this is the catalyst of the Qualfon mission leader. As a messenger, we are there to send the right message and be positive about it and communicate the bad and the good. But you know what? As a messenger, because we're great mentors and managers as well, we can take the bad and turn it into good. We can take the positive, the negative, and turn it into positive. To me, that is the beauty of the Qualfon mission leader as it is stated in those 3 dimensions, because we can. Now, this is the logo of the Qualfon mission leader. And you guys have some, I see, thank you for the mission team. You did a great job putting the cubes together. And I was told right before the presentation that if you are able to put together that cube in less than 30 minutes, you can call yourself a Qualfon mission leader. That's what I heard before the meeting, right, Roberto? You said something. Okay, great. The cube shows us the 3 dimensions: the mentor, the messenger, and the manager. And if you don't mind, can I take this from you? I will give it back. All right. It is 3 dimensions. Obviously, it's a cube. And in the cube, you see the word mentor and manager and messenger in there. And on the opposite face of the dimension name, the dimension title, you see the explanation of what being a mentor, a manager, and a messenger is all about. So it's a great piece of, if I were you, I would take it, I would put it in, in your coffee table at home. Just put it in there. Put a few, around the house. They look good. They look good. Now, we live the mission from our hearts. That's the only way we can live the mission and make it happen. When we live the mission, we're not planning. We don't schedule tasks to live the mission. We don't say, Wednesday from 9 to 10, I'm going to behave with integrity, or I'm going to treat people with dignity, or I'm going to focus on results. We do that every single day of our lives, every single second. That's simply the way we live. It comes right from our hearts. Now, when we say the mission comes out of our hearts, we have to prepare our hearts somehow. And the way we do that is we put a purpose in our lives. We put a purpose in our lives. And then we become very passionate about that purpose. But so passionate, and I'm going to say this figuratively, that you're ready to die for the cause. That is what being passionate about is. Think about your families. Would you be ready to die for your families? I bet every single one of you are here. If the push came to shove, right? But that's how we have to feel, and I say it figuratively, of course, about the mission. You know, it comes from our hearts. We're passionate about it. Now, this is a guy that can teach us a lot about passion. Joe Plumeri. Joe Plumeri wrote this book, The Power of Being Yourself, a game plan for success by putting passion into your life and work. Now, Joe Plumeri was an executive with Citigroup. He became the CEO of the North America division. Year 2000, he became the chairman and CEO of the Willis Group. And I understand the Willis Group is one of the largest insurance, you probably know about it, agencies or insurance brokers in the world. Well, he took it for 12 years and apparently he turned it around. He also co-owns the New York Yankee AA team and several other sports teams. This is a guy of many passions and very successful, very successful. Well, he has a famous quote, and I read, he says, "You can't do passion halfway. Living your passion means you are all in. You trust your heart and you trust your gut wherever that takes you." That is what passion is all about. You trust that thing that you're pursuing and you do it with all your heart. You do it with your life if necessary. That is what being passionate is all about. And I invite you to be passionate about something here at Qualfon. If you feel your thing is to make this company the best BPO, go ahead. If you're more in the humanitarian side of the mission, making people's life better, go ahead. The mission is such a beauty. I say it's almost a redundancy. It's such a beauty that I promise we're going to end up all at the same point at the end of the road. Okay? But let's be passionate about it. Now, I would submit that Qualfon mission leaders are unique. They're really unique. I've been here for 14 months now. I have to say I was the first one, or one of the ones who thought the mission was impossible. It looked pretty. It was a pretty mission, but I didn't think it was happening. Very quickly I got convinced. You know, the commitment of the executive team behind the mission, the fact that it's so effective, the mission in Qualfon. We already have results, and we hear from our customers and our clients talking about it. Made me actually make a decision that it was hard to me. I had a company with another two partners of mine. For 12 years, it was my baby, my company, and I left the company for this mission. It was just easy to do because of the mission, nothing else. And I know many of you, for a fact, have had similar opportunities, and you left those opportunities for this mission, and I think it's the right thing to do. Good for you. Qualfon mission leader. Let's analyze the three words, and let's start with leaders. I think there are too many leaders around the world. I mean, goodness, it seems like there's a leadership conference in any hotel somewhere every single week of the year, right? Great food, but what they talk about is the same. I quit going to those because I was bored already. It's about the same thing. Same thing goes with books and stuff. Now, when you add the word mission, I kind of like it, but I still think that they're abundant. You know, mission leaders, okay, fine, at least they have a mission to lead over, and that is good, right? But they're just mission leaders. It doesn't tell me about what that mission is for. Could be a good one, could be a bad one. To me, we're unique because of the mission. The Qualfon mission makes the difference. So Qualfon mission leaders are unique. Now you might say, well, you know, change the name Qualfon for something else, and you got yourself a unique leader as well, right? Well, not really. I think some mission statements are made to look pretty. And honest to God, this is a random Google search and it's print screen, and this is how they look. You know, look at the images, and that's what you're going to get. very pretty missions. They're replacing paintings basically on lobbies and stuff like that. And I've been in that kind of situation myself once in a while. Now, some others look busy, right? And I won't tell you who the name of the company that has that vision would be, but I would hate to be a newcomer in that company and being in the onboarding session and being asked to recite the mission. That's not what I want to do. A whole bunch of pretty words put together. It's a collage of pretty words, pretty much. Now, the reason why that happens is because they are usually built like this. And yes, there are mission statement templates. All you have to do, many years ago, we would pay a lot of money to consultants to help us put the mission together, and they own these templates. Nowadays, you can Google those templates, right? All right? And all you have to do is fill in the blanks. That's all you have to do. So they're cliche 1, cliche 2, yet another cliche, and so on. I like this. Slide number 1 of 42. They are built like that. Many of them, not all of them. Or like this. This is you gotta love Dilbert, right? Wally comes in and his boss says, you know what? Wally, your report is just a bunch of buzzwords strung together. And then Wally says, well, let me remind you that I have been giving you the same report every week for 11 years now. And I might add that 5 years ago, you adopted it as our mission statement. Now, some others are simple and bold and compelling. They're really, really good missions. And one I like a lot is Google. To organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. Can you imagine? I mean, that is bold. It talks about the universe here. It's bold. And it's very compelling. I am interested to buy or use whatever product or service they give me. This one company, right? How about this one? You know which one that belongs to? Simple. Make people happy. Super bold and very compelling. I really want to go there. As a matter of fact, I'm planning to go there next week. All right, and how about this one? Be the best BPO and make people's life better. How simple, how compelling, how bold that mission statement is. And we know what's behind it. And the reason is, our mission was built like this, was carefully crafted. It was crafted from the hearts of those who put it together and made it simple for us to learn and follow. And that makes the big difference. That makes the big difference. Growing as a Qualfon mission leader, I would like to, in the next, 3.5 minutes, discuss some of the evidences that we see here in the company. Sometimes we see things and we don't really stop and realize how bold and how significant they are. When we say we are mentors, we really grow crazy about making people's lives better in this company. Very, very crazy in my opinion. For example, when we're thinking about, think back in sessions 2, session 3, and Kamari and Alfie, where are you? Thank you very much. You were helping a whole lot in those 2 sessions. We were talking about being a mentor means, knowing ourselves, knowing our team, and then helping our team find their total vocations. When you talk about total vocations, somehow you talk about academics. There's just no way that you cannot talk about academics when you talk about total vocation. Here in Qualfon, as you all know, you heard it yesterday, we have a tremendous higher education system. And at this point, I like to introduce, and I don't want to put you on the spot, at least not a whole lot, Carlos, but Carlos Huereca. Carlos is the new director for the higher education department, which falls under Leonard Work, all right? And Carlos has a tremendous resume. He's, for the last 10 years, he was the president of one of the largest universities in Mexico, one with 50 campuses around Mexico in 46 cities, about 900 people, and about 32,000 students. And so Carlos is leading our way. Carlos knows exactly what needs to be done for us to get to that kind of university. And Carlos, if you don't mind, if you could, if you could help us understand, how many people do we have in the system today? How many students? I know it's been very little time, but have they graduated, any of them, and in what? Tell us about it a little.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks, everybody. It's great being here and sharing with you this project. We have conducted in the last 6 months test pilot in eight Qualfon sites. We have almost 600 students, a tremendous response, great response, and we already have out of the micro degrees programs, which are supposed to be a year and a half long, we already have the first 5 graduates, 2 from the Philippines and 3 from sites in the US. So, fantastic.
What sort of concentration?
It's business entrepreneurship and marketing and sales.
Nice. Actually, thank you very much, Carlos. Thank you very much. And actually, I know Nicole. Are you here? Nicole is one of them. Where are you? There she is! Yay! Great work. Great work. Let me get my gun here. So, Lynda.com, micro degrees and MBAs. This is a genius way of doing it, okay? Because, what we have, most of our employees really are very young, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. And I have heard for a fact, in talking to them, when we were first starting this project, they would say, I want to be an accountant. My uncle is one and he's so successful. I would like to be like him. Does that tell me about their talents? Maybe their passion, strengths? Not really, right? So in the process of discerning about something like that, we can use Lynda.com, which instead of having 1,000 hours worth of work in a micro degree, they only put 20 or 30 in order to understand if really accounting is for them. And if it is, go for the big one and go make the micro degree. So that's one way we use Lynda.com in the mentoring business. And of course, there's MBAs, which we have 18 now of, right? All right, we also have other programs. And I use the wrong clicker. I use my own clicker, whose USB is not in your computer. Yeah, I'm full of clickers here. I love clickers. I buy clickers like every week. The career path and job posting program from Human Development is great. If that passion happens to can be pursued, inside the company, I like to go in there and see if there's an opportunity for me. And the chaplaincy program by Andres, where are you, Andres? One of the best chaplaincy programs run in the world. I know many of them, and this is a real good one, world class. Now, as managers, we go crazy about being the best BPO and delighting our customers all the time, right? And I always, as a teacher, I like to give my students always a cheat sheet. That's not a good teacher, I guess, but I do. And here's my cheat sheet on the 4 agreements. We spend our resources wisely to ultimately add value to delight our clients. Or we move fast on our actions to keep our commitments timely and with quality. Now, here in Qualfon, we run a tight ship, guys. We have all kinds of metrics that we follow, and we follow very, very often. The APA calls to look into attrition and absenteeism, the account review, the sales pipeline calls, the flash calls, the KPI review calls, and there's many more that you guys are doing probably in your own areas that I don't happen to have here. Now, speaking of KPI, we in the mission office just caught up with you guys. We have our own KPI system. Roberto showed a slide yesterday. This system allows us to follow 19 KPIs. We just went live last week. And we can aggregate those KPIs in verticals. We can aggregate them by sites, maybe. We can aggregate them in one single mission office score, that we call it. And we can drill down and understand if there's any cause that is causing something good or something bad, and fix the problem or share the best practices. Now, as messengers, we go crazy about openly communicating. That's one thing we do very well here at Qualfon, in my opinion. Let's start with the You Matter with Mike survey. Every 2 weeks, we get a lot of feedback, comments, and questions from our employees. And once a month, our executive team gets together and puts the town hall meetings, letting everybody know answers to some of the most important questions. The snapshot reports, the mission index, the sales information calls, which I'm enjoying very much. I like sales, and I happen to be far away from sales, so I'm enjoying that one very much right now. And most importantly, as Qualfon mission leaders, playing the role of a messenger, I believe we are called to turn bad into good, negative into positive. And the reason is because we know. Remember, we're also the best mentors and best managers there are. And we need to feel like that, and we need to act like that. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Salamat and gracias. And you guys were a great audience. Thank you very much.